Have you ever found yourself wide awake at 2 a.m., not from worry about someone else, but because your own body just won't rest? Maybe you're sitting in the living room in silence, staring out the window. Or maybe you found yourself pacing the hallway without really knowing why. You pause. You wonder. Is this just how nights are now? Perhaps you get up several times a night, the floor creaks, the bathroom light flickers on, the faucet runs in the kitchen. You tell yourself you're fine. You've done this before. But somewhere deep down, you might be wondering. Should I be concerned? Here's the truth most people never say out loud. When it comes to our health after 60, the biggest dangers don't always come from a sudden fall or a major illness. No, what quietly wears us down are the small, familiar habits we barely notice. Things like skipping a light snack before bed. Or spending just a bit too long scrolling through your phone or watching late-night TV. Holding onto a bedroom setup that's comfortable, but no longer safe. Or telling yourself you don't really need that final bathroom trip. These don't feel dangerous. But over time, they can silently affect your balance, your energy, your sleep, and even your independence. That's why this video matters. Because you deserve the truth, not when it's too late, but now, when you can still take simple, meaningful steps to protect your health, your peace of mind, and your future. And if you've spent a lifetime caring for others, it's time to care for yourself with the same love and attention. So, stay with me. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 4 nighttime habits that could be quietly harming your health after 60, and more importantly, how to change them gently, without turning your world upside down. And if you're here because you want to live smarter, sleep better, and age with wisdom, then you are absolutely in the right place. Comment, "I'm here," if you're ready to take better care of yourself, one small habit at a time. And don't forget to hit subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide, where we share honest, heart-centered tips to help you care better, age wiser, and live healthier, one day at a time. Let's begin with the first habit, one that seems harmless, even routine. But for many seniors, it can become a quiet threat to their safety. Skipping the evening bathroom visit. Meet Mr. Harold. A 72-year-old widower, gentle in nature and set in his ways. After his wife passed, Harold began living alone. His days were quiet, and his nights, even quieter. He'd always been a light sleeper, and he noticed that getting up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom left him feeling groggy the next morning. So, he made a small change. He stopped drinking water after dinner. And before bed, he'd lie down without visiting the bathroom, telling himself, "I'll sleep straight through." That's better, right? At first, it seemed to work. Fewer trips in the dark, fewer disruptions. But then came the night when nature's urgency struck harder than usual. In his rush to reach the bathroom, Harold tripped over the corner of a hallway rug. The fall fractured his hip. And in a single moment, his independence changed forever. Now here's what many don't realize. As we age, our bladder becomes more sensitive, and the signals to urinate can become more urgent. The muscles that once held everything in place lose some of their strength. And the brain doesn't always respond as quickly during sleep. So, skipping that final bathroom trip before bed doesn't stop the need from coming. It just means the need arrives in the middle of the night, fast, urgent, and often when balance and vision are at their weakest. But there's more. When older adults hold urine for extended periods at night, it can irritate the bladder, leading to overactive bladder symptoms, discomfort, or even urinary tract infections. And if they wake suddenly with that urgency, there's often no time to think clearly. That's when accidents happen. You see, many seniors believe they'll sleep better if they don't drink water or if they avoid the restroom before bed. It's a common assumption: if I don't go, I won't wake up. But the reality is quite the opposite. What actually happens is fragmented sleep. The body stirs. The bladder signals. And now, the brain is forced awake at an unnatural hour, often leaving them disoriented, fatigued, and more prone to falls. And what's heartbreaking? Families often dismiss this. They think, oh, they just got up to pee, nothing serious. But it's in those quiet hours, half asleep and barefoot on a cold floor, that the risks multiply. So, what can be done? Start by gently adjusting evening routines. Encourage a light reduction in fluid intake 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, not complete avoidance, just moderation. Make sure they still stay hydrated throughout the day, especially in the morning and afternoon. Then, help them make a habit of visiting the bathroom right before lying down. Even if they don't feel the urge. Sometimes, just a little reminder, paired with compassion, not pressure, can make a world of difference. You might also consider motion sensor night lights along the path from their bedroom to the bathroom. No fumbling for switches. No harsh overhead glare. Just enough light to see safely, without waking the entire body. And if your loved one resists, don't argue. Ask questions instead. Gently explore why they skip it. Listen, and offer reassurance that you're not trying to control them, you're trying to protect them. Because here's the truth, preventing a late-night fall isn't just about safety. It's about preserving independence. Because once a serious fall happens, the road to recovery, especially after 60, is steep and filled with uncertainty. So yes, something as small as using the bathroom before bed. It matters. It matters more than we think. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. Let's talk about another habit, something nearly all of us do before bed. A habit that seems innocent, but could be quietly disrupting sleep, straining the eyes, and even affecting mood. Let's talk about screens. The glow of our phones, our tablets, our late-night TV. Because while nighttime bathroom trips pose a physical risk, screen time may be silently rewiring the mind. Second habit, one that has become incredibly common in recent years. Not just among the young, but increasingly, among older adults too. Excessive screen time before bed. Mrs. Lopez is 68 years old. A former teacher, now retired, with a heart full of stories and a deep love for her grandchildren. Every evening after dinner, she would settle into her favorite armchair, open her tablet, and start scrolling through pictures, reading the news, and watching short videos. It became her routine. Her wind down. A way to feel connected and entertained. She told herself, it helps me relax before sleep. But slowly, things started to shift. First, she began waking up groggy, even after what should have been a full night's sleep. Then came the headaches in the morning. She noticed her mood changing. More irritable, less rested. And worst of all, her sleep became unpredictable. Some nights, she'd lie awake for hours. Other nights, she'd fall asleep quickly but wake up multiple times, unable to return to rest. What was happening? Here's the science many people overlook: screens, whether from a phone, tablet, or TV, emit blue light. And blue light has a unique effect on the human brain. It suppresses the production of melatonin, the hormone responsible for regulating our sleep-wake cycle. Melatonin is what tells the body, it's time to slow down. Time to rest. Now, here's the key part: as we age, our bodies naturally produce less melatonin. Even without screens, sleep can become lighter, more fragmented. So when you add blue light into the mix, right before bed, it creates the perfect storm. The mind stays alert. The body stays confused. And sleep becomes shallow, delayed, or disrupted entirely. But it's not just the light. It's the content. Scrolling through social media or watching intense TV drama stimulates the brain emotionally and cognitively. Even if you feel calm, your mind is processing images, stories, noise, things that demand attention and reaction. This is why the common belief, watching TV or checking my phone helps me unwind, is often misleading. For many seniors, it actually does the opposite. And yet, this habit is deeply comforting. It feels familiar. It fills the silence. It makes the night feel less lonely. So how do we gently shift away from it, without creating resistance or guilt? Here's what can help. Instead of screens, try light reading under a warm-toned lamp. Choose books with calm stories or uplifting messages, nothing too intense or emotionally heavy. Audiobooks are another wonderful option, especially for those with tired eyes. Soft, slow narration can lull the brain into a restful state. Some even enjoy playing gentle instrumental music, nature sounds, or guided sleep meditations, many of which are specifically designed for older adults. What's important is not just what replaces the screen, but how consistent the new routine becomes. The brain responds well to patterns. A familiar cue, like the sound of a soothing voice or the feel of a book, can, over time, become the body's signal that it's time to rest. And if your loved one resists? Remember, this isn't about forcing change. It's about offering alternatives that still honor their desire for comfort, connection, and peace. Maybe suggest turning off screens 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Not abruptly, but gradually. Let the quiet become part of the ritual. Dim the lights. Lower the volume of the home. Create a space where sleep feels welcome. Because here's the truth, when sleep is improved, everything improves. Mood, memory, energy, even physical healing. It's not just rest, it's restoration. But the environment plays a role too. Even the perfect bedtime routine can be ruined by a bedroom that works against the body's natural rhythms. So next, let's explore something many overlook, not what you do before bed, but where you sleep. And how that space could be silently draining your energy, night after night. Third habit. Sleeping in a cluttered or unsafe bedroom. Picture this, a small room, dimly lit. A well-worn rug by the bed. Stacks of books and magazines on the floor. A lamp that's just out of reach. And narrow walking paths between furniture. This was Margaret's bedroom. Margaret, 74, was fiercely independent. She took pride in her home, her memories, her routine. Everything had its place, even if that place was a bit chaotic. One night, she got up to use the bathroom. She reached down for her slippers, but her hand brushed the edge of a basket she'd forgotten was there. She stumbled, lost her footing on the rug, and fell hard against the nightstand. A fractured wrist. A deep bruise to her hip. And weeks of pain that could have been avoided with a few small changes. You see, as we age, our balance becomes more fragile. Muscle strength declines. Joint flexibility decreases. And nighttime brings additional challenges, reduced vision, slower reflexes, and a brain that's not fully alert after waking. In that state, even a perfectly familiar room can become a trap. Here's the key misconception. Many seniors believe that because they've lived in a space for years, they can navigate it in the dark, half asleep, without worry. They say things like, "I know this room like the back of my hand." And while that may be true, it doesn't account for how the body has changed. What was once a safe path can now be a hazard. A corner of a bed frame becomes a shin-level obstacle. A thick rug becomes a tripwire. A cluttered floor, once filled with personal items, becomes a maze of potential injury. So, what can we do? It starts with creating a safer nighttime environment. Not by stripping away comfort, but by making subtle, thoughtful adjustments. Install motion sensor night lights, soft, warm lighting that turns on as soon as feet hit the floor. These help the eyes adjust without overwhelming the senses. Clear the paths from the bed to the door, the bathroom, or a water glass. No stacks, no bins, no rugs that can bunch or slide. And avoid low furniture that blends into the dark. Like ottomans, stools, or old pet beds. At night, these can become invisible until it's too late. Replace throw rugs with non-slip mats or remove them altogether. And keep bedside essentials within easy reach, glasses, medications, or water, so there's no fumbling in the dark. These changes aren't about taking away a senior's independence. They're about preserving it. Because here's the hard truth, a single fall can be life-changing. It can rob someone of their confidence, their ability to move freely, and even their will to stay active. But a safer room can be the difference between a peaceful night's rest and a devastating accident. Encourage your loved one to walk through their room with you, in the evening, with the lights off. Help them see what you see. Help them feel what's at risk. Do it with patience, with love, without judgment. Because it's not about criticizing the way they live. It's about protecting the life they love. And here's the thing, even when the bedroom is perfectly safe. Even when the path is clear, the lights are soft, the routine is calm, there's still one more habit that many seniors overlook. One that seems so small, yet slowly chips away at both the body and the mind. It's not physical. It's emotional. It's quiet, but powerful. A habit tied to loneliness, to restlessness, and to one of the most overlooked health risks after 60. It's something subtle. Something that doesn't happen with a crash or a fall. But instead fades in, quietly. Until it's too noticeable to ignore. Going to bed without eating enough. John is 70 years old. A soft-spoken man who once enjoyed hearty meals, shared laughter over dinner, and looked forward to dessert as much as the main course. But after his wife passed, he lost interest in food. He'd say, "I'm just not hungry at night." He'd skip dinner more often than not. Maybe have some tea, a cracker. Then turn in for the night. At first, no one worried. He seemed fine. But slowly, his family noticed changes. He moved slower. He lost weight. He snapped more easily at small frustrations. His spark, the part of him that lit up a room, seemed dimmer. What was happening? Here's what many don't realize, appetite naturally declines with age. The body's hunger cues become weaker. Metabolism slows. And emotional factors, like grief, isolation, or depression, can make meals feel like a chore instead of a joy. But here's the crucial point, going to bed on an empty stomach, especially for seniors, carries real risks. Without enough nourishment, the body struggles to regulate blood sugar levels overnight. This can lead to hypoglycemia, a drop in blood sugar that causes restlessness, dizziness, confusion, and even night sweats. It can make sleep more fragmented. Or keep them lying awake, unable to settle into deep rest. And long-term undernourishment? It leads to muscle loss, weakened immunity, poor wound healing, and even cognitive decline. It's not just about feeling tired the next day, it's about how the body fails to recover, night after night. But here's the trap many families fall into, they assume their loved one is just eating lighter now. They think it's normal for older adults to not eat as much. And yes, portion sizes do tend to shrink, but skipping meals entirely is a red flag, not a lifestyle shift. So, what's the solution? It doesn't mean forcing a full dinner when someone isn't hungry. In fact, pressure often backfires, leading to more resistance. Instead, offer something small, balanced, and comforting, a warm bowl of oatmeal. Half a peanut butter sandwich. A slice of cheese with whole grain crackers. Or yogurt with a sprinkle of fruit and honey. The goal is not just to feed the body, it's to gently signal that it's time to rest and restore. Make it a ritual. Light a candle. Play soft music. Offer something warm and nourishing, not just food, but presence. That moment, that small act of care, can mean the world. Because when an older adult eats just enough to stabilize their body, they sleep better. They wake with more energy, Their mood improves. Their strength returns. It's not about changing everything. It's about noticing the small, quiet declines, and offering the kind of support that doesn't feel like interference, but love. And that brings us to the heart of it all. These nighttime habits. Skipping the bathroom. Staring at screens. Navigating unsafe bedrooms. And going to bed on an empty stomach. They may seem minor. Even harmless. But over time, they create ripples. They erode health slowly, not with drama, but with repetition. Until suddenly, the changes are too big to ignore. So, what does this really mean for families? For caregivers? For anyone trying to support the ones they love through the later chapters of life? Because understanding the habits is just the beginning, responding with love, action, and wisdom is where the true impact lies. It's tough watching someone you love slowly change. And it's even harder when the changes seem invisible, or harmless. They're not collapsing. They're not crying for help. They're just skipping a meal. Or leaving a light off. Or brushing off another restless night. But deep down, something feels off, and you're not imagining it. This is the quiet reality of aging. It's not always loud. It doesn't always come with sirens or sudden emergencies. Sometimes, it whispers through routine. Through small habits that look harmless, until they're not. And that's what makes this so difficult. Because the very routines we rely on to feel normal, can slowly become the very things that harm us. But here's the truth, you're not powerless. You're here. You've listened. You've learned to look past the surface. And now, those late-night routines, the skipped bathroom trip, the blue glow of a screen, the dim cluttered room, or the skipped dinner, they aren't just small quirks anymore. They're signs. Signals. Opportunities to step in with love. Because when you understand what's happening, you can respond not with fear, but with preparedness. With compassion. With calm, confident steps forward. It starts with something as simple as this: tonight. Take 10 minutes. Peek into your loved one's bedroom. Look at the path from bed to door. Is it clear? Is it safe? Ask them how they're sleeping. Gently bring up the idea of a snack before bed. Suggest a short evening routine. Something to soothe, to nourish, to prepare them for rest. Not all at once. Not with pressure. But with presence. Because caring for someone over 60 doesn't mean fixing everything. It doesn't mean hovering or worrying endlessly. It means showing up. Consistently. Quietly. Lovingly. And let me remind you, you don't need to do this perfectly. You don't need to know every medical term. You don't have to be a professional caregiver. You just need to notice. To ask. To care. That's where change begins. With small questions asked at the right time. With quiet adjustments made with love. With attention paid to the little things, because the little things add up. And the truth is, most of the time, seniors aren't asking for dramatic interventions. They're asking for safety. Comfort. Connection. To feel that someone still sees them, still cares, still wants them to be well. So tonight, let your care be felt. Let your awareness guide you. Let your love take practical form. Because even if you don't say it out loud, your presence can speak volumes. And your actions can protect their health, their dignity, and their peace. This is the power you hold. Not tomorrow. Not someday. But right now. It starts with noticing the habits. And then, gently changing the story behind them. To quickly recap, we covered 4 dangerous nighttime habits that can quietly, and often unknowingly, impact the health of someone over 60. 1. Skipping the evening bathroom visit, a habit that seems minor, but can lead to sleep interruptions or even dangerous falls. 2. Too much screen time before bed, a comfort that often backfires by disrupting the body's natural sleep rhythms. 3. Cluttered and unsafe bedrooms, familiar spaces that can become silent hazards, especially in the dark. 4. Going to bed without enough food, a quiet habit that can cause weakness, low energy, and disrupted sleep over time. Each one may appear harmless, but over weeks and months, they accumulate. And suddenly, what felt like routine becomes risk. Have you or someone you care for struggled with any of these habits? Let us know in the comments below. Your story might help someone else realize they're not alone. And sometimes, just hearing that someone else understands, is enough to spark real change. At Elderly Wisdom Guide, we believe in the power of awareness, not just to inform, but to transform. If this video helped you in any way, if it gave you clarity, comfort, or even just one small step forward, subscribe. Every day, we bring thoughtful, compassionate insights to help you care better, live better, and age with the wisdom you've earned. You're not just a viewer here, you're part of a growing circle of people who care deeply about aging well, supporting loved ones, and staying informed in a way that feels human. Thank you for spending this time with me today. It means a lot. Stay strong. Stay informed. And remember, every small step you take makes a big difference. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And I'll see you in the next video.